Even as we grieve, we give thanks for this most faithful life. I am deeply aware of this great inheritance and of the duties and heavy responsibilities of sovereignty.
This is the story of a marriage in name only. A king growing frailer by the month. A son watching his inheritance slip into the hands of someone he has never trusted. And a woman who fought for 50 years to wear a crown and who appears, if those closest to her are to be believed, unwilling to let go of it, even as the tide of power shifts irrevocably toward the next generation. We are talking about King Charles III, Queen Camilla, and Prince William. And today, we are going to tell you everything. Take a moment, settle in, and stay with us to the end, because this story rewards patience, and it deserves to be told properly. By the autumn of 2025, something had changed. The language being used by insiders, quietly, carefully, never for attribution, had shifted in tone. What was once diplomatic talk of the king and queen preferring different retreats had become something harder, something that sounded less like a lifestyle preference and more like a rupture. As Yahoo, Entertainment, and Radar Online both reported in September 2025, a well-placed insider described the state of the marriage in terms that left very little room for interpretation. They are divorced in everything but name, the source said. Camilla lives at Ray Mill most of the time, while Charles retreats to Highgrove or Clarence House. It is a marriage of appearances and public relations optics at this stage. Let those words sit for a moment. A marriage of appearances, public relations optics. This is not the language of a loving partnership weathering the ordinary strains of life. This is the language of a contractual arrangement. A performance maintained for an audience that is not supposed to know it is watching a show. And here we are, watching it. Now, before we go any further, let us be clear about something. Buckingham Palace has not confirmed a divorce. No formal separation has been announced. King Charles and Queen Camilla have appeared together publicly in 2025 and again in 2026, including attending church together at the start of January, as People magazine documented on January 5th. They are scheduled to embark on a joint state visit to the United States in late April 2026. A trip confirmed by the palace and widely reported by the BBC, Hello Magazine, Yahoo News, and dozens of international outlets. On the surface, everything appears orderly. But monarchy has always operated on two levels: what is shown and what is known. And what is known, according to multiple sources across multiple reputable outlets in the latter half of 2025 and into 2026, is that the marriage between Charles and Camilla has deteriorated to a degree that is deeply, deeply troubling to those who care about both the institution and the man wearing the crown. What is known is that Ray Mill House, the private retreat in Wiltshire that Camilla purchased in 1994 for approximately £850,000 following her divorce from Andrew Parker Bowles, has become something closer to her permanent residence than the royal households she shares with her husband. What is known is that Charles, battling an ongoing cancer diagnosis, has reportedly found himself increasingly alone in his quieter moments. And what is known is that when reports emerged in 2025 of Camilla enjoying an extended Mediterranean vacation aboard a luxury super yacht while the king focused on his health, it was not a passing item of gossip. It was, according to sources, a turning point, not primarily for Charles, but for William. And that is where this story truly begins. Because the central drama of the British monarchy in 2025 and 2026 is not, despite what the tabloid headlines might suggest, simply a marriage in trouble. It is the collision between two visions of what the monarchy should be and who should be running it. And at the center of that collision stands a woman who fought her entire life for a crown that the next king has never believed she deserved. If you are finding this story as compelling as we believe it is, please take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel. We cover the royal family with the depth and the care that stories like this one demand. Hit that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss what we bring you next. Now, let us talk about what Radar Online, in a deeply reported story published on March 26, 2026, confirmed in remarkable detail. Because by that point, what had been a gathering storm of whispers and speculation had become something concrete, something documented. Radar Online's investigation revealed that Prince William is at war with Queen Camilla. Those were the words used. At war. And the battleground is King Charles's body. Specifically, how hard he should be working while he battles cancer. According to Radar Online's insider sources, William has been repeatedly urging his father to ease his schedule and focus on his recovery. Every time those conversations happen, Camilla pushes back. She is described as encouraging Charles to keep up with his full slate of duties, public engagements, state banquets, international tours, arguing that pulling back would send the wrong message to the public and to the institution. And Charles, who has always defined himself through his work, has been listening to his wife. The consequences of that position became painfully visible, according to Radar Online's reporting, during a state banquet held in Charles's honor for the Nigerian president. William was firmly of the view that his father was not well enough to attend. He had said so explicitly. Camilla disagreed just as explicitly, and the banquet went ahead. An insider described the aftermath. Charles looked fatigued and unwell throughout the evening. Those who witnessed it said it reinforced William's fears and deepened his frustration with Camilla in a way that had not been apparent before. But what gives this conflict its real weight, its real pain, is not the scheduling. It's disagreement. It is what lies beneath it. A palace aide told Radar Online something that cuts to the heart of the matter. The language being used inside the palace, the aide said, is quite stark. William cannot forgive Camilla for what he perceives as the situation. It has, the aide said, stirred up a lot of unresolved feelings from the past. And those feelings, once disturbed, have come rushing back. We all know what past those words are pointing toward. We all know whose shadow falls across every room in which Charles, William, and Camilla find themselves together. Princess Diana died in August 1997. William was 15 years old. He lost his mother, and for years after, for more years than he has ever publicly acknowledged, he carried the weight of that loss alongside a grief that the royal family's institutional culture of restraint did not give him much space to express. He watched his father, who had loved Camilla privately for decades, finally marry her in 2005. He and Harry attended that wedding. They were present. They were polite. But Prince Harry himself, in his memoir Spare, published in January 2023, wrote plainly that both brothers had urged their father not to go ahead with the marriage. Despite Willie and me urging him not to, Harry wrote of their stepmother. The word he used for Camilla in an earlier part of the same memoir was wicked stepmother. He and William, he wrote, viewed her that way, not as a label borrowed from fairy tales, as an honest description of how she had made them feel. That is documented. That is in print. It was written by a member of the royal family who grew up inside those walls. Now we are in 2026. William is 43 years old. He is the Prince of Wales. He will be king. And the unresolved feelings that he managed to put aside, or at least to manage, during years of careful diplomacy, are, according to palace insiders, no longer manageable. Because the trigger is not abstract anymore. It is not the past. It is the present. It is a 78-year-old woman who allegedly sat in comfort on a yacht in the Mediterranean while a 77-year-old man battled cancer in the English countryside. And it is the same woman who, according to multiple insider accounts, has spent the years of Charles's reign actively positioning herself, expanding her influence, and, if the most serious reports are to be believed, working to limit the space available to the man who will one day replace her. Let us be specific, because this channel does not deal in vague accusations. We deal in documented reports from named and sourced publications, and we ask the questions those reports raise. In July 2024, Prince William made a decision that attracted relatively little attention at the time, but that royal observers have since identified as one of the clearest signals yet of how he intends to operate once he is king. As People magazine, Page 6, Fox News, and Tatler all reported that summer, William declined to renew the Duchy of Cornwall contract of Annabel Elliot, Queen Camilla's sister, who had worked as an interior designer for the duchy for more than 20 years. The contract was simply not renewed. No statement, no ceremony, no explanation. Just a line drawn through a name on a payroll. When a future king quietly removes the queen consort's sister from a position of proximity and income, that is not an administrative decision. That is a message. And it was sent clearly. Then came the Ray Milhouse transfer. Hello Magazine and GB News both reported on February 28, 2026, that Queen Camilla had quietly transferred ownership of Ray Mill House, the £850,000 Wiltshire retreat she bought 30 years ago, to her children's representatives, identified as her son-in-law, Harry Lopes, and financier, Jake Irwin. The land registry confirmed the change. Royal Central, reporting on March 4th, described it as reflecting a long-standing arrangement within the royal couple's financial planning, but others were not so certain. Reddit's Royal Forum noted the timing. A property transfer of this kind executed quietly without announcement, while the king's health remains uncertain and a state visit to America was being planned, it raised questions. Around the same time, InStyle and the Daily Express reported that King Charles himself had spent approximately $3.8 million, or £3.75 million, purchasing the Old Mill property in early 2025, a property directly adjacent to Ray Mill House. Think about what that means. While Camilla was transferring Ray Mill House to her children, Charles was buying the property next door. Neither action has been officially explained. But taken together, they paint a picture of two people in the same marriage, making very different and quietly separate arrangements for the future. And that is precisely what royal experts have been warning about. Royal expert Joe Little has been direct on this point. When King William takes the throne, Little has noted, every aspect of Camilla's public and private life will be reviewed. The new King William would call all the shots, Little said. But every aspect of her public and private life would be reviewed. That is not a comfortable position for a woman who has spent 50 years fighting to secure exactly the kind of permanent royal standing that William's coronation would put entirely at his discretion. And this is where the story takes its most serious turn. Because what Radar Online's March 2026 investigation described, and what multiple other outlets have since corroborated, is not simply a personality conflict between a stepmother and a stepson. It is, according to the people who know the family best, a power struggle, a calculated, ongoing effort by Camilla to retain influence over Charles, and through him, over the institution, before the inevitable change of reign removes that influence forever. This is an important moment. This isn't to pause and check in with you. These are serious allegations. They come from anonymous insiders, people who speak to journalists under conditions of confidentiality, as is standard practice in royal reporting from every major outlet, including People, The Daily Telegraph, Radar Online, Cosmopolitan, and the BBC. We are not presenting any of this as proven fact. We are presenting it as what it is, a convergence of reporting from multiple independent sources across multiple publications over a sustained period of time that together forms a coherent and troubling picture of what may be happening inside one of the world's most scrutinized institutions. And that picture looks like this. Charles is a man who has been fighting cancer since February 2024. In December 2025, he appeared in a video for Cancer Research UK and Channel 4, confirming, as E! News and Hello Magazine both reported, that his treatment would be reduced in 2026. A sign of cautious progress, but not a declaration of full recovery. He has continued to work. He attended the Nigerian state banquet. He went to Cornwall. He is flying to the United States at the end of April 2026 for the state visit that the palace confirmed months ago. He is, by every account, a man who defines himself through duty and who has no intention of stopping. William watches this and sees something Camilla apparently does not, or will not, see. He sees a father overextending himself. He sees a man who is not well enough to maintain this pace. And he sees Camilla, the person closest to his father, actively encouraging that pace, rather than protecting the man she married. The Radar Online insider put it plainly. Every time William raises the issue, it seems to trigger tension because Camilla is seen as encouraging Charles to keep pushing forward with his public duties. It's becoming a recurring point of conflict between them. Why would Camilla want Charles to keep working? That is the question that hangs over every account of this conflict. And the answer that insiders keep circling back to is as uncomfortable as it is logical. Camilla is queen consort. She has duties, staff, access, and clause, and influence that are entirely dependent on Charles being king. The moment Charles is no longer king, whether through death, abdication, or incapacitation, she transitions to the title of Queen Dowager. Not queen consort. Queen Dowager. And Queen Dowager is a title that comes with considerably less institutional power and considerably less protection than the role she currently holds. Yahoo Entertainment and MSN have both carried the analysis of royal expert Victoria Howard, who predicted as recently as April 2026 that Camilla will likely be styled as Dowager Queen when William takes the throne. Good Housekeeping's royal correspondent put it clearly. The palace will formally refer to her as something like Dowager Queen Camilla. What she will not be is Queen Camilla, not in the way she is now, and the difference is not semantic. It is architectural. It changes everything about where she lives, what staff she has, what duties she performs, and what access she has to the institution that has been the center of her life for 30 years. William knows this, Camilla knows this, and that shared knowledge is what charges every exchange between them with a weight that goes far beyond a scheduling disagreement about a state banquet. Here's where we would ask you, if you are watching and finding this story valuable, to share it with someone who cares about the royal family. The more people understand the full picture, says the documented reports, the confirmed sources, the timeline of events, the more honestly this conversation can happen. And please do subscribe if you have not already. This channel is built for people who want the full story, not the headline. Because the full story includes something that has been reported and then quietly underreported. In February 2026, multiple outlets, Yahoo Entertainment, Cosmopolitan, AOL, and Rob Shooter's investigative newsletter all reported the same thing. King Charles and Prince William are not speaking. Not in the way families sometimes drift apart or disagree and give each other space. Reportedly not speaking in a way that insiders describe with words like real anger, as Yahoo Entertainment put it in a headline that February. Charles and William officially not speaking as sources claim the fallout hits much harder than Harry. There's real anger. Think about what that means in the context of everything we have discussed. Here's a king with cancer, working harder than his heir thinks he should, encouraged to do so by his wife. While his son, the person who will inherit everything Charles has built, is apparently so frustrated by the situation that the two men are not talking. One palace insider told Rob Shooter, "It's very bad at the moment. There's real anger on both sides." Another described William's absence from a key royal event at Windsor Castle in terms that left no ambiguity. That wasn't a scheduling issue, that was a statement. And here's the detail that places Camilla at the center of that estrangement. According to multiple sources, Camilla has reportedly described William's push to reduce Charles's workload not as loving concern, but as a power grab. She is said to have framed it to Charles as William trying to sideline him, to push him toward abdication, to claim the crown before it's time. And Charles, a man who loves his son but who also cherishes his role, who has waited his entire life for this crown and has no desire to surrender it, has heard that framing. He has reportedly internalized some version of it. And the result has been the estrangement we are now seeing. A royal courtier quoted by Yahoo put it with surgical precision. Harry is emotional, reactive, and predictable. William is controlled, strategic, and stubborn. That's much harder. And then the line that explains everything. William will be king, and he knows it. That changes the power dynamic completely. They clash, another source said, because they're too similar. Both believe they're right. Neither backs down easily. But here's what makes this particular conflict so tragic in a way that the Harry situation never quite was. Harry left. Harry is in California. Harry is outside the institution, making his choices in public for the world to see. The distance between Charles and Harry, however painful, has the clarity of geography. William is here. William is present. William is at every state occasion, every Remembrance Sunday, every Commonwealth Day service. He is managing the affairs of the Duchy of Cornwall. He is preparing quietly and methodically to become king. And the conflict between him and his father, a conflict that insiders directly link to Camilla's influence, is happening inside the palace walls, behind closed doors, with none of the cathartic public rupture that allowed people to process the Harry situation. This one festers. This one has no clean edges, and this one involves a dying king, his estranged heir, and the woman caught between them who may have more to gain from that estrangement than anyone else. Let us talk about what happens next, because this story is not static. It is moving, week by week toward a reckoning that everyone in that palace knows is coming. King William V is not a hypothetical. He is a certainty. It is simply a matter of time. And when that transition comes, the institutional authority that Camilla has spent 3 decades accumulating will be subject to the decisions of a man who told his own brother in print in a published memoir that he considered her a wicked stepmother. A man who is currently, according to Radar Online's March 2026 reporting, almost at war with her over his father's well-being. A man who made his first quiet, institutional statement about the Camilla family by removing her sister from the Duchy payroll without a word of explanation. Royal expert Joe Little's assessment bears repeating because it is so important. Under King William, he has said Camilla's every aspect of public and private life would be reviewed. That means her staff, her diary, her duties, her access to royal residences beyond Ray Mill House, which, as we now know, she has already quietly transferred to her children. It means her public role, which is currently queen consort and therefore immense, would shrink to whatever the new king determined was appropriate for a queen dowager who is the widow of his predecessor and the stepmother he never fully forgave. Whether or not William acts on every one of those powers is something only time will reveal. But the important thing is that Camilla knows he has them. And that knowledge, that understanding that every decision she has made in these final years of Charles's reign will be reviewed, reconsidered, and potentially reversed by the man she allegedly tried to keep at arm's length, is perhaps the most consequential element of this entire saga. King Charles III is a man with cancer. He is 77 years old. He has served the British public in one capacity or another for more than 7 decades. He loves his son. He loves his wife. And he is caught, according to every credible account of what is happening inside that palace, in the middle of a conflict between 2 people who both love him, in very different ways and for very different reasons. Camilla loves him with the devotion of 50 years, a devotion that is real and that no amount of criticism should erase. William loves him with the complicated, unresolved love of a son who lost his mother in circumstances no child should face, and who has spent the rest of his life trying to navigate the space between that grief and his royal duty. That is the real story, not the divorce, headlines, not the yacht photographs, not the property transfers, or the payroll decisions, or the title debates. The real story is a complicated, wounded, imperfect family that is running out of time to find its way back to each other before the next chapter of history begins without them. We will keep following every development as it comes. There is more to tell, and we will be here to tell it with the care and the depth you deserve. If this story moved you, if it gave you something to think about, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one of them. And before you go, please subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so. And it costs you nothing, and it means we can keep doing the work that stories like this one require. Share this with a friend who follows the royal family. Like the video if you found it valuable. And come back tomorrow, because the palace never sleeps, and neither do we. The question we will leave you with today is this. When William finally takes the crown and the full accounting of these years begins, what will history say about the woman who fought so hard to keep it? And what will it say about the king who let the people he loved most drift apart during the years when it mattered most? We will be watching, and so will you.